Counting on Jill Duggar confirms Jim Bob set up sibling attacks. Counting on fans knew that Jill Duggar Dillard and her husband fell out with her dad, but they could only suspect that her siblings also attacked her. Actually, TLC fans seem horrified to learn the extent of the harassment. What emerges in Counting the Cost suggests that Jim Bob Duggar was allegedly behind it all. Jill Duggar Dillard reveals some startling things about her family. Counting the Cost certainly sounds like the TLC dad wasn't the man that people saw on the TLC show. So far, it claimed that a terrifying encounter happened when Jim Bob, Derek, and his wife met for a talk. He ended up, the story goes, towering over her in a furious rage. In fact, it seemed that it almost developed into a physical altercation, and she described it as an act of aggression. Apparently, she'd sent her father a text and he viewed it as verbal abuse. Jill Duggar Dillard and Jessa chatted with Megyn Kelly in a 4-part series, and in her book, she explained that while it was all about molestation by Josh, he was actually present in the room. So, he heard every single word they said. No wonder, they seemed to defend him. Can you imagine how difficult that time must have been for the two young women? Even Jill didn't understand why her brother who inflicted so much pain on her was allowed to remain. Jill Duggar Dillard claims Jim Bob orchestrated sibling attacks. TLC fans are becoming skeptical about Jessa Seawald at the moment. They wonder if her father ordered her to suddenly start posting a lot of things online. Incidentally, it came after she'd been very quiet. Some people also believe that her news about a 5th child on the way arrived seemed suspicious. Social media buzzed with the idea Jim Bob made her do it to deflect attention away from Counting the Cost. After new allegations about sibling attacks, it make it even more believable. Jill Duggar Dillard described how she discovered alleged tax fraud by her father. Apparently, he kept a list of everything he ever spent on her and secretly filed it as a tax return on her behalf. Well, she and Derek objected. Jim Bob wanted them to drop it. One of her siblings told her, "Pops is telling everyone that if we don't stand against you both on this, then we're standing against him. He said none of us can be neutral here, and that this affects all of us. He says we might all be sued as a result of what you're doing." Harassment got out of hand. Jill Duggar Dillard said in her book, "Several of my siblings hit the phones, sending voicemails and texts all day long. As that got them nowhere, they started visiting. The book reveals that they would arrive and chat for hours and even late at night. However, Derek refused them entry when he was studying for his law school exams. They didn't care, just saying, "This is way more important than law school." On Reddit, u/Wizusasex commented, "Another crazy thing about this is that it reframes the friendships we thought we knew about. Anytime someone would hang out with Jill, we would rejoice that they weren't shunning her out, but now it turns out some of those visits weren't quite so friendly." Are you surprised that Jim Bob Duggar allegedly got his kids to harass Derek and his wife? Can you imagine the harassment she probably got when she announced her book? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And keep coming back for more news on the Duggar family.